Snow whispered secrets above Celina's silk bed, drifting through the cold halls of the ancient palace. Tonight, her eyes opened to a second chance she swore she would not waste. Beneath heavy blankets, Celina felt the bite of betrayal still sharp against her heart. No more would she beg for warmth from hands that meant to chain her. Once, this room had been her cage of silk and whispers. Now, she would turn its secrets into her armor. Her fingers brushed the old leather-bound journal hidden beneath her pillow. This time, its pages would bleed poison into power. Beyond her carved door, servants laughed, blind to the storm gathering in her chest. They would not laugh for long. Celina's breath rose in the cold air, a ghost above velvet blankets and silk-white nightgown. She felt alive and untouchable for the first time in years. Moonlight spilled across Celina's raised hand, where the arcane seal glowed faint in her open palm. The hidden power shimmered like a promise she would never break again. The forbiddance mark on her open palm once cursed her in silence. Tonight, that mark would be her hidden blade against every lie. She lowered her hand, hiding the arcane seal beneath silk, as her feet touched the cold marble floor. Every step reminded her she had returned to carve new scars over old betrayals. Candles flickered beside the old mirror as Celina passed, her white silk gown trailing over frozen stone. Her reflection was paler than ghosts, but her golden eyes burned with life. Celina paused, her fingers brushing the cold mirror glass one last time. What died here once would never kneel again. She wrapped herself in a pale silk cloak, warmth brushing her shoulders but resolve sharper than any blade. Tonight, the halls would hear her silence roar. The marble hallway welcomed her with cold silence, portraits of forgotten ancestors watching every step. Celina's bare feet kissed the stone as if to claim it back. Servants froze mid-whisper when they saw her. Their words died between curtsies and lowered eyes. They thought her silence meant defeat. Tonight, it was her weapon. A single glance from her golden eyes turned whispers into stone. Celina walked on, letting fear bloom behind her. At the far end of the marble corridor, the carved double doors loomed like a tomb for secrets. Celina's heartbeat was calm. Every secret inside would kneel before her tonight. Her fingertips traced the cold wood, each swirl and crack carrying echoes of broken vows. This time, her touch would carve new truths into these walls. With a slow breath, Celina pushed the door open. Darkness waited, heavy with whispers and betrayal. Tonight, she would not fear the shadows. She would command them. The heavy door groaned behind her as Celina stepped inside. Silk brushing stone like a ghost returned. Dust clung to betrayal here. It tasted like old lies waiting to bleed. She traced her fingers along the old desk, finding the hidden drawer she once feared to touch. Tonight, fear served her, not the other way around. Inside lay sealed letters, old as her ruin, stamped with the Duke's serpent crest. Celina's smile flickered. Tonight, the serpent would choke on its own poison. Celina unfolded the brittle paper, eyes tracing poison written in elegant ink. Every lie spilled here would bind the Duke tighter than chains. She let the candlelight kiss each line, memorizing secrets meant to bury her. Tonight, they buried him instead. Celina folded the letter, smile sharp as a blade hidden in silk. By dawn, Prince Aiden would hold this poison in his clean hands. She tucked the folded letter into her cloak, the paper warm against her racing heart. One whisper carried right could tear a throne apart. A soft knock cracked the silence. A lone maid stepped inside. Long brown hair, wide brown eyes, clutching her apron as shadows wrapped around her. Secrets weighed the air heavier than candle smoke. The maid flinched as Celina's pale hand slipped from the shadows, pressing the sealed letter into her trembling fingers. Find the hawk at dawn. the Duchess whispered. Tell him the serpent sleeps. The maid's footsteps faded down the corridor, hurried but quiet, a single whisper carried in trembling hands. Outside these walls, dawn would taste of betrayal. Alone again, Celina let the chamber swallow her silence. The serpent's coil had begun to crack, and she, its quiet poison. Only one candle remained, its flicker a final witness to her vow. Celina leaned close. A single breath, and the darkness was hers again. Darkness swallowed the chamber whole as Celina stepped out, the stone floor cold under her bare feet. Behind her, the last candle's ghost still lingered in the scent of burnt promises. In the hall, whispers clung to stone like frost. Servants spoke of a prince who moved like a ghost at dawn. Celina's smile curved cold. Dawn would come soon. She let her fingers drift along the frozen wall, each step echoing softer than her heart's promise. Before the sun rose, she would stand where Aiden's shadow waited. Cold air kissed her cheeks as Celina stepped into the hidden garden, frost-covered roses blooming like secrets that refused to die. This path once led her to ruin. Tonight, it would lead her back to the throne. Moonlight tangled in her hair as she paused by the old fountain. Broken marble, whispering water, shadows that remembered every promise. Some ghosts could still be useful. She lowered herself to the stone bench, hidden beneath frozen ivy, eyes fixed on the path where Aiden's shadow always slipped by. Tonight, the shadow would meet hers. Moonlight caught the frost on her lashes as Celina sat still, the garden's breath whispering of secrets yet to wake. A rustle beyond the roses, soft boots, careful as shadows. From the frost and fog stepped a man cloaked in midnight blue, silver embroidery catching moonlight like threads of hidden power. His eyes found hers, dark, steady, the prince who hunted secrets alone. No words yet, only the hush of frost and a single promise in the space between them. Tonight, one shadow offered her hand to another. Their shadows merged beneath frozen ivy, breath misting like secrets too fragile for daylight. Celina's voice broke the garden's hush soft, steady, a dagger hidden in silk. You read my letter, she whispered, eyes locked on the prince's shadowed gaze. Do you want the serpent's head, or shall I keep it for myself? Prince Aiden's lips curved, not a smile, but a promise that shadows knew how to listen. Keep it warm for me, he said. I hate touching cold things. Frost cracked under Aiden's boots as he stepped closer. Shadow folding around Celina like a cloak of shared secrets. His voice was calm iron. Why trust me? Celina's laugh was barely a breath, cold and sharp. I don't, she said, but the serpent fears your teeth more than mine. She slipped a second folded paper from her cloak. Thinner than the first, poisoned with a single name. This is where you start, Celina murmured. Bleed him slowly. Aiden took the note between gloved fingers, his cloak of midnight blue brushing frost from the ivy. His eyes stayed locked on hers. The paper crackled like old bones ready to bleed secrets. We bleed him slow, Aiden murmured, his midnight cloak brushing her white silk like night tasting snow. But my shadow alone won't carry you. Give me your poison, I'll lend you my teeth. Celina's smile barely lifted her lips, all blade and snow. Your teeth, she whispered, cloak of white silk draped over her bare shoulders. But my hunt. Don't mistake me for prey, your highness. The frost garden held its breath as Aiden leaned closer, his cloak brushing white silk, a whisper of night claiming snow. Then hunt well, Duchess, he murmured, and I'll bite where you bleed them open. He stepped back, shadow swallowing midnight blue. No footfall, no farewell, only frost and the promise of quiet ruin. Celina did not rise. The hunter waited where the prey once knelt, She let the cold wrap her bones, breath white against the night. No more burial, no more silence. Tomorrow, the serpent would feel her fangs first. Celina rose from the stone bench, frost trailing from her cloak's hem like a ghost she no longer feared. Her bare feet kissed cold marble, each step a promise to tear her cage apart. Inside the corridor, shadows bent before her. Cold torchlight flickered on walls that once swallowed her voice. Tonight, the walls would speak for her instead. She paused at an old portrait of the Duke. Eyes painted kind, mouth forever lying. Celina's breath ghosted glass. "One piece at a time," she whispered. "I'll cut you down." Celina brushed her fingertips across the painted Duke's smile. Cold oil, colder truth. She turned away before the wall could swallow her fire again. Back in her private chamber, candlelight danced across old pages waiting to remember names worth bleeding. Her quill moved in silence, stitching secrets the walls would never hear. Line by line, she stitched her hunt together. Each name, a thorn, a promise. By dawn, the serpent would have nowhere left to coil. One name stained her page first. A whisper of a man who traded secrets for coin. Celina's quill paused on his final price. Betrayal. She closed the book, frost in her breath as the chamber door creaked. The maid returned, loyal hands trembling for a secret heavier than gold. Celina held out the folded page, one name, one target. "Watch him bleed," she whispered. "Bring me the pieces." The maid's brown eyes flickered with fear and faith. She clutched the folded page tight against her apron, nodding once without a word. She slipped into the hidden corridor behind a velvet drape. Stone steps swallowed her footsteps, secrets curling in the dark. Celina did not follow. She only watched the shadows bend. Behind her, candle flames trembled as if they too knew blood would come. Celina touched the drape's velvet edge, soft in her hand, sharper than any blade tonight. Celina let the velvet slip from her fingers. The corridor swallowed her maid, but she trusted no shadows fully. Every ally was a blade that could turn. She crossed the room, candlelight bending around her white cloak like moonlight turned to fire. On her desk, a second page waited, another name for another knife. She dipped her quill again. No flicker of doubt. If her first blade failed, the second would not miss the serpent's throat. Her quill traced a second name. A sly servant who fed Duke rumors like honeyed poison. He thought himself unseen. Tonight he'd learn shadows have sharper eyes. Celina folded the page, slipping it into an empty box lined with black silk. The box was never locked. Her secret always found the right hands in the dark. She whispered to the dark corner. No servant stood there, but the walls listened. "Take the second throat. Quiet. No mess for Dawn to taste." Celina stepped away from the box, candlelight pooling in her golden eyes. Not warmth, but hunt. She drew her cloak tighter. No whisper tonight would be wasted. She crossed to the tall window. Beyond the glass, the palace slept under snow and secrets. Celina's breath misted the pain. Somewhere below, her knives were already moving. No more buried Duchess. No more locked cage. Tonight the palace belonged to her shadows. Beneath the palace stones, the maid moved like dusk turned human. Long brown hair hidden under a plain hood. Brown eyes hunting the traitor's scent. She pressed her ear to a carved door. Voices leaked through. A man counting coin, whispering lies to a master far above. Her fingers brushed the small blade hidden in her sleeve. One cut tonight would buy her mistress 100 more secrets. The traitor never heard her breath at his door. The maid's fingers traced the dagger's edge. Cold metal, warm pulse. Tonight she was not a servant. She was the Duchess's quiet blade. Inside, The traitor's fingers danced over silver coins, eyes blind to the shadow waiting behind the door. He smiled at gold, never smelling the blade. Far above, Celina's window flickered with candlelight, a promise that no gold could bury her name again. Below, the first betrayal bled into the stone. The coins fell like quiet rain, scattering across cold stone. The traitor slumped forward, breath gone. No scream, only the echo of silver and a single dark stain. Far above, Celina whispered a vow into the flickering flame. Let this shadow remind them, I was never buried. Inside her secret box, another name waited, the ink dried silent as a blade. One snake down, more shadows to feed. The maid wiped the blade clean with a piece of linen. No stain would betray her mistress's will. Coins rested like cold confessions at her feet. She stepped back into the hidden hall. The dead left behind, the secret carried ahead. No guard saw her shadow melt into the stones. Above, Celina drew the curtains closed. The candle flickered out, but whispers of her name began to stir the palace walls. Far away, the Duke's eyes opened in the dark. In the west wing, the Duke's chamber stayed dark, but inside, loyal servants whispered of missing silver and stains no broom could hide. The Duke, hair silver as old frost, drummed his fingers once, forehead creased deep, blue eyes unblinking. He spoke no words, just a nod to the shadow waiting by the carved door. The single candle burned low, flickering like a dying secret. Far across the palace, Celina's eyes flicked open. She felt the shift like frost biting through silk. She whispered, Then let the hunt begin. Celina dipped her quill in ink, the parchment before her trembling under candlelight. Each letter cut deeper than any blade. Her list would not stay short for long. Below, the maid stepped from one shadow to another. Her new target drunk on stolen wine. His laughter would echo once, then never again. At the same hour, the Duke's hidden spy whispered lies through servant halls, sowing fear where Celina's shadows walked. Not every serpent bleeds quietly. Celina's quill paused above the parchment, her golden eyes calm, tracing names that would soon slip from whispered halls. Not every threat needed steel. Some would crumble under secrets alone. In the hidden corridor, the loyal maid tucked a sealed letter deep inside her cloak, her steps soft as snow, carrying secrets meant to melt walls from within. Near the old servant's well, a hooded shadow waited, coins ready to open closed lips and spread quiet doubt. Celina's game was silence that drifted deeper than any blade. Inside her chamber, Celina hid one letter deep in a secret drawer. A name no shadow would carry yet. Some truths needed time to ripen like poison waiting under silver lids. Beyond the palace wall, a hooded shadow passed the gate in silence. Under the cloak, fresh coins and rumors shared a pocket. Tonight, they would feed the city whispers to choke the Duke's name. Yet somewhere in the Duke's west wing, another pair of eyes watched the shadows slip away, a hidden web tightening under velvet drapes. He never hunted openly. He waited for mice to come to his palm. In the east hall, the loyal maid slipped through servants' doors, a sealed letter pressed to her chest. Each step echoed softer than her fear, for her loyalty now carried teeth. Far above, behind velvet drapes, the Duke's cold eyes watched the same doors close. His hand tapped the armrest once. The hush of betrayal now tasted sweet on his tongue. Outside the old gate, a hooded shadow paused under the frost. In a hidden pocket, Celina's secrets burned warm, ready to poison every ear foolish enough to listen. Somewhere deep inside her locked chamber, Celina leaned over a dying candle. Her eyes glowed brighter than any flame, for her next fire was not wax and wick, but a crown meant to burn.